At 24, Kach Umandap had just $10,000 and one dream: to see the world and eventually set foot on all 7 continents. 12 years later, she's visited all 195 countries while facing a tough travel hurdle. With a Philippine passport, she needed visas for 130 out of the 195 countries. But then, she discovered a way to make the visas work in her favor. Kach first worked for several years in the Middle East. Then she visited visa-free countries for Filipinos in Southeast Asia and South America. While in Colombia, she applied for a US visa. That single stamp in her passport became the key to opening the door to even more countries.
It really changed the game on how I would travel. When I had the visa in Colombia, I realized that I could enter most of Central America visa-free. And then I realized that I could go on a cruise from Miami or Fort Lauderdale and visit all the Caribbean countries visa-free. And then I could get e-visa to go to Turkey. I applied for Schengen visas. Then it all snowballed. Then I realized that I don't just want to get the visa. I want to get the longest visa that I could get. So even though I have a Philippine passport, I have all of those powerful visa on my passport that made it doable for me. Getting the visas are very expensive. For USA visa, you have to pay $160. It's not just $160. You have to print the documents, you have to fill out the form, you have to take the call, like especially for Filipinos in the province, you have to fly to Manila, you have to get the passport. So it is maybe around $400 just to get one visa. And yes, there's always no guarantee if you will get it approved.
And visas aren't just about money. Kach has a secret edge in her application process: a cover letter, just like the one you'd write for a job.
It's better if there you explain who you are, what's your job, how you make money, why do you have to go to their country, why do you have to leave the country.
There are other hurdles to cross: showing proof of money in the bank, a letter from an employer saying that you're returning home, and clearing tough questions from immigration. So Kach built her profile carefully, both online and while traveling.
You have a good travel history record. Your social media is public. You're not going to be a distraction or anything on to the country you're visiting. Usually, what I recommend to people, I would suggest that you really dress to impress. You don't want to wear and look homeless. Like if they know that you're well dressed, they will know that you could afford your trip. Dress on how you want the immigration officer to treat you.
Once she discovered her visa hack, Kach pushed further into Africa with 54 nations and complex border rules and the rest of the continents, and has lived to tell the tales.
I have so many scary stories. The immigration would get you out, but the other country will not get you in. So you're stuck in between. You're just looking for people who would let you in. So I had a situation in Congo. I had to cross the boat by a river. They got you out, but then this immigration won't let you in. So you're stuck in between.
While she watches her budget carefully, there are some things Kach won't skimp on, like insurance, though she has a money-saving hack there as well.
I had a big car accident in Pakistan in 2019, and that surgery and leaving the country and then everything cost 25,000, like 15 to 25,000 euro with the therapy and everything. Imagine if I didn't have the travel insurance. Or also, there's another technique. You don't even need to get the global insurance. You could research what is the insurance company that is used in that country. So, for example, there are like insurance that the local people are using in Pakistan that is accepted in all of the hospitals.
You don't go cheap in a cheap country because it's gonna be too dangerous, or like the security and stuff. If before I would take the earliest flight so I could go in there, then I realized I have to pay for the taxi. Now I budget based on the convenience, and I budget based on the back pain that I will get.
Even if I can't buy the food or I run out of money, I make sure that I purchase my water. And usually make sure that you drink like water that is sealed.
Not surprisingly, even her research for her visits is unique.
People would ask me like, oh, do you do the research where to eat, where to stay? I don't usually research that. Usually what I research before arrival are the immigration rules, the communication, how I could communicate, what internet, what this. I like to research about the things that are the scams, or like the things that could happen. So when I start to see this situation, I know what I would do.
Kach first dreamt of being a diplomat and worked as an intern at the Philippine embassy in Kuwait. She stayed in the Middle East for 4 years, saving money for law school. But her plan to take a 6-month sabbatical turned into a life of traveling full-time as a digital nomad. To stretch her savings, Kach did volunteer work in exchange for food and lodging. She also couch surfed, taught English, got certified in Ayurveda massage, and wrote for publications to earn extra cash.
So I'd work, save money, put the money in the bank account, and then once I get the visa, I would go travel. Being a blogger really helped me because I think around the 70 to 80 countries, I was able to work with hotels, tourism boards, and everything. Because if I was not able to work with the tourism boards, I don't know how I would even afford to go to these places.
Visiting the 195th country, Sudan, to complete her bucket list took more time and money than she expected. First, she had to wait 2 years to get a visa due to the ongoing civil war. She had to pay a tour agency for an invitation letter, private driver, and hotel. All that for a visa that only allowed a stay of 24 hours.
I remember paying this private company to book my hotel, security escort, and driver at around like $1,250. I had to fly from Manila via Hong Kong to Ethiopia, Ethiopia to Port Sudan. And I think that time the flight ticket was around like $1,500. And then my flight ticket to return. And then I had to pay $100 for the visa on arrival, so to get it stamped in my passport. It is very expensive, but it's worth it.
Kach's world tour from Afghanistan to Zimbabwe was done entirely on a Filipino passport. That makes her the youngest Filipino to visit all the UN-recognized countries of the world solely on a Philippine passport. That's according to Nomad Mania, which verifies travel claims. All in, Kach spent nearly $630,000 to visit all 195 countries, 193 United Nations member states, and 2 non-member observer states. Kach now spends most of her time in an island province in the Philippines. But she travels all over the country to share the secrets of her traveling feat.